Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 9 of the Future Ready Librarians podcast series, Leading from the Library. This is a podcast for all librarians wherever you are in your journey. It is filled with amazing guests, important topics, and engaging conversations that will inspire, engage, and support all of us as future ready librarians. I am your host, Shannon McClintock Miller. I am the district teacher librarian at Van Meter Community School in Van Meter, Iowa, and serve as the Future Ready Librarians leader. I have the pleasure of working within my library and school community and also with others around the country and world through the Future Ready Librarian events, conferences, consulting, writing, and more. I am honored to bring these voices and the work of others to our podcast and to all of you. Well, tonight I am very excited to welcome one of my dearest friends and amazing librarians to our podcast, Miss Nikki, and I can't wait for you all to meet her. And we're going to talk tonight about books, which I love, and reading and getting kids excited about different programs. And so I know you're going to love it, and I have been looking forward to this all day. So let's just kick it off by having you introduce yourself, Nikki, and tell everybody who you are.
Hey, yeah. I'm Dr. Nikki Robertson-Griffin, but you can just call me Nikki. And this is year 32 in education. And I'm currently at a ninth grade center in Texas. So excited to be here and share some information with you about what I'm doing in the ninth grade center.
Yeah, I think it's fun too to think about all the libraries that you've been in because one of my fondest memories is when you were in elementary and
Yeah.
all of the centers you did and just got them excited about reading and learning and all the things. And so it was really fun to see you go to this ninth grade building, which I think would be so great to be in like one grade, like building. I bet that's exciting. Like that would be
Uh,
so fun to
yeah.
focus, like
I
and what
feel so fortunate because
yeah.
I feel like I'm in the sweet spot right here. And so I want to stay here.
Yeah, like, I'm going to stay here forever. Well, I'm sure they would have you too. And I think that the thing that I like when I see you do things online is that you're always like fostering that love of reading with your kids. And it's such an impact that you make not only on their lives as, ninth graders, but as lifelong readers. And one of the, you do a few things in there, but one of the programs that really stands out to me that I have been watching, of course, for a few years are the really cool little lit boxes that you do. So let's
Mhm.
just start with that because I think that's something too that it doesn't matter like what grade you're in. You can take Nikki's idea and run with it for your own library.
Yeah, right. And for sure, I've done that as soon as social media was something where we could connect with people. I would take and learn from all different grade levels and try to adapt it to whatever grade level I was in. All right, so the lit boxes, I learned about those at a TLA, Texas Library Association conference, and it was actually done by a public librarian. And so she was sharing what she had done. And I was like, I bet I could use this in the ninth grade center to get kids more interested in books. And the thing about the ninth grade center, and I've been in elementary, then high school, then elementary, and back to high school level. So I've been all throughout those, just no middle school. So I skipped seventh and eighth. But one thing that is can be a little, I don't know how you would say it, maybe challenging. There's a good word. Maybe challenging about being at the high school level is you don't have your scheduled library classes like you would have with your elementary and even your middle school. So, how do you keep your kids in high school engaged? Plus, then they've got band, cheerleading, they've got jobs and all sorts of things that are competing, and reading kind of falls to the wayside. So how can we get them more interested in reading? So the lit boxes are basically each month has a certain theme. Like, for instance, October, the theme was spooky. Next month, I'm going to focus on, in November, on kindness. And basically, what that means is I will find little like goodies, treats, and things like that that can go in the box that represent the theme. But then there's two books that I will pull from the library that match the theme, but also I do a genre personality quiz with all of my students at the beginning of the year. And so I want to make sure that when they get the lit box, not only do their books match the theme, but also match their genre personality, because I want to make sure that if I give them some books, they're not stinkers. You know what I mean? Because I mean, books are wonderful, but there's some books that are a little more attention grabbing and more appealing to students. And so I want to make sure that when I connect them with something, they enjoy what it is I've connected them with. There's a little brochure that I put inside there with information. And there is a paper that I think is important to have on the top, which says, if there's a book in here that you don't want to read for whatever reason, return it, and that's okay. And then there is a QR code that they need to use, because if they want another lit box, they have to do a book review for at least one of the books that that was in their box. It's also the lit boxes are a great way to reach out to your community. So, for instance, our December boxes, I survived. And so I've connected with the fire department, our local fire department, police department, EMS, and city emergency management offices. And they have provided some amazing things to go into that box. And like, I have them in cake boxes, the 12 by 5s, and all the stuff barely fits in there. Like, the box is bulging, and I'm trying to close the lid, and I still had to put the books in there. So I don't know what I'm going to do. They might have to come out of the box.
Yeah, tie them to the top or something.
Right.
With a ribbon.
But it's fun. The kids are like saying, hey, how can I get one of those boxes? And when I deliver them to the classrooms, the other kids are like, hey, what's that? Did you get a cake? They're like, no. And so, I mean, the word is getting around, and it's really super exciting to see the kids excited about it as well.
Oh, I love that. I know. Keep posting, because I love to see like all your themes and all that. It's so much fun. And it's so exciting for the kids. Like, you think how the little things inside, and if I was closer, I would like stop by and have you give me one. So
yeah, right.
the other thing I think that is so fun that kind of goes along with that is like that personal book shopping that you do.
Right. And so that's kind of a combined thing now. So personal book shopping with DoorDash service is kind of, they're a little bit different, but I think they really go together well. So that just reminded me, I had a student who wanted me to get some books for her. I had to make a note. But students can ask me, well, let's start it this way. Have you ever not known what book you want to read next? And so you ask a friend or somebody, hey, what book should I read next? What are you recommending? I see that all the time on the Future Ready Librarians group and so forth. And so same thing, students are like, Ms. Robertson, I'm not sure what I want to read next. Can you help me find something? And I'm one of those people who I can't think off the top of my head. Need a little more time. And so I'm like, okay, tell me what you're looking for. What's some books you like? And then I go back and look at their genre personality quiz, and I try to find about 4 or 5 books I think match what they're asking for. And then like if I'm doing the 4 or 5 books, I will package that up, little ribbon, and I'll go get them from their class, bring them to the library and say, hey, here's the stack. These are some books I thought you might like. And tell them to go sit somewhere comfy, look through those books. And you know how sometimes when you open a book, it doesn't have the description on the inside and it's kind of hard to read on the back. So I try to, before I pull them in, to go to Follett and print out some of the descriptions of the book so that they have that to reference while they're deciding what book they want. So that's a little extra step I do. And then they can check out all 5 of the books. They can check out 1 book. They can check out no books. If nothing matched, I'm like, okay, give me another chance. But I haven't had that happen so far, so that's really exciting. But then also I'll have students like the one today that I just now remembered saying, hey, could I get the third in the series of this book? And I'm like, sure, no problem. And what I'll do is go pull that book off the shelf and then deliver it to their classroom. So that's the DoorDash. But I also do that with Destiny. You can put a book on hold. The kids know how to put books on hold. So I look at my holds every day. If there's a book for me to be able to pull off the shelf, DoorDash service. So I take it to whatever classroom they're in. I usually put bookmarks and stickers and sometimes a little candy or something. And then other kids are like, hey, how'd you get that candy? Well, I ordered a book. I put it on hold. And they're like, oh, I'm going to do DoorDash.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And one other program that you do that is very dear to my heart too is something that started several years ago, and that's the Somewhat Virtual Book Club. And I think back to when we all started that and all the fun that we've had over the years. And it's just so great to see you continuing it. So just people don't know. First, let's talk about what the Somewhat Virtual Book Club is.
Well, let's go back in time
Yeah.
to 2011, right?
Yes.
And it was was Joyce involved in that, or was it Michelle and
Joyce,
Jane?
Michelle, myself, Jane, and one
Was
of,
Kathy Joe
yes.
at
And
that
it's
time?
someone else too that was.
No, I'm trying to think who it was
Huh?
because I don't think I came in until like around 2015.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was a baby librarian. Yep.
I know, right? We were all babies at that time, but yeah, the Somewhat Virtual Book Club is really cool. What Shannon and the other librarians we were just talking about started. And so let me start this way. A lot of high schools have a really hard time starting a book club and having it be robust because of all the things we said about why kids aren't reading books because, all their after school activities, before school activities, all of that. And so maybe you have 1 or 2 kids in your school who actually have the time and want to be in the book club. And that's not very interesting if it's just 1 kid sitting in there reading the book with you. I mean, that's fine, but usually they want more interaction. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon, at least this is how I'm approaching it, is we wanted to make it to where students from all of these different high schools around the country. And there was one time we had a school in Japan that actually was with us, could come together, and those 1 or 2 students from all those different high schools could then come together with Zoom, or maybe it was Google Hangouts at the time when it first started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they can all come together and I guess just not feel so alone and be able to connect and talk about their books. And it's somewhat virtual because you do meet, at least I do, in person with my kids once a week. Like today was our day. We meet every Wednesday. And I changed it this year because I wasn't getting traction with my kids last year because it was after school. But my kids don't drive. They ride the bus. They got, band, all that other stuff after school, and they couldn't stay. So I started doing mine during lunch. So we have ABC lunch, and so the kids come during those. And of course, I bring snacks and things. Then once a month, and right now this year it's the second Wednesday of each month, I decided this year to also offer two times because some people can only attend during the day. Like my students in the book club, none of them can attend after school,
Mm-hmm.
whereas other schools need to do it after school. Their kids can stay. Their admin's not going to let them, have an hour out of their time to meet in the middle of the day. So I was like, how can we do this so that everybody can have a chance to participate? And so this year I've decided offer two different times, and that seems to have been working really well so far. So like the second Wednesday of every month, from 12:30 to 1:30 Central Time, and then 4:30 to 5:30 Central Time. And it's not too late to sign up. You can always jump in. The books we chose this year came from the Tayshas award list, and the Maverick graphic novels. So one month we have a novel, next month we have a graphic graphic novel, and that kind of gives the kids a break from reading a whole novel. Then, okay, we can read a graphic novel. I can read that in an hour or two, and then going back. So that's really exciting. And then, Shannon, I don't know if you know this because I haven't really said anything. We have almost all of the authors
Oh,
have
I love.
committed to coming in with our groups, mostly with the 12:30 group.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
recording then to share with the audience?
Um, they're offering their services for free. So one, I don't feel good about recording it. Two, the kids don't like it being recorded. And then I also had to think about student privacy, because they'll be talking in their faces and all of that. So no, I'm not going to record.
That's really cool, though. That's so neat. I remember once we had a year that we had a lot of authors, and the kids then really they just got so excited and felt so special.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, so neat. Such a great
Yeah.
experience. And for us as librarians, right? Like that's such a neat.
Yes.
Who is or what's the book this month? Or who was your author last month that you had?
Um, and I'm such a terrible librarian. I didn't think to email the authors until after that first book we read. So
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't even give them the opportunity. But the first book we read, and this was the books we're reading were all voted from the top 10 list of the Tayshas and then the top 10 of the Mavericks. So it was a vote, how these books were chosen. So the first one was Chaos Theory by Nick Stone.
Hmm.
And so we had that one. This month, we're reading Stamped, the graphic novel.
Yeah.
So Dr. Ibram X. Kendi has agreed to come and talk with our kids at the 12:30 meeting for about 30 minutes. So I'm super excited about that. And so I showed our kids today, our book club kids today, a CBS morning show interview with him, about 6 minutes long, about the graphic novel. So that was really cool, to show them that and get them prepared.
That is so neat. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to listen. I'll
I
read. I'll be a
know.
reader. We'll get our kids up and excited again and join
Yeah.
because that is so cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
What? So one exciting thing, Shannon, too, is that Callie, who is the high school, the 10th through 12th grade librarian, she has an English teacher there at her school who's buying 30 copies of that book, and they're all going to participate in book club. And that was even before we knew that Dr. Kendi was going to meet with us. They were going to do it anyway.
I love that. Well, and
Yeah.
that's what we did for a few of our times with certain books. Our class would join us, like our, different classes. I even remember one year it was like one of our sports literature classes. And so that is a great way to, I think, also to get the teachers, right, encouraged to like have more discussions and book clubs and things that, even encouraging them to, zoom in with authors and connect. So
Yeah.
that is so
Yeah.
great. And through all these like programs too, I always think that it's, one of the best parts of being a librarian are just the things that we do day to day and how we build that, whatever grade it is, how we're building that love of reading. And I know there are some things too that you do throughout the day and throughout the week to encourage your readers.
Right. Yes. And not just encouraging only books and pushing books. I don't always want to be a book pusher because that pushes those students who aren't or don't consider themselves to be readers away. So I try to do a mix of things so that everybody feels welcomed and like the library is a space for them. Whereas before they might think, oh, yeah, that's the library, that I don't belong there. So getting them to come in, and at my school we have what's called Morning Madness. I didn't name it. It's Morning Madness. So the kids are let into the school at 8:25, and then their first period starts at 9, and they can go anywhere in the school they want to go during that time. And I had so many people coming in the library that I couldn't really supervise it. One time I just tallied it when they were coming in. I had 147 students, and students were still coming in, and it's just me. I don't have an aide. So I was like, we have to handle this differently because I have to be able to supervise. And so now I can only allow 30 kids in right now. But I'll tell you a secret. You know how you have your favorites? No, we never have our favorites, right? I have made 30 more um, check-ins for my favorites who might not get there before the others are done. So I have index cards, and I've made barcodes through Destiny, and I put those on there onto the index cards. And so as the kids come in, they type in, or I can scan their badge, their number. Then I scan the barcode on the index card, just flip it over. And the nice thing about doing it with the index cards is, one, I can keep count of how many kids I've let in. But the most important thing is that then I have a record on Destiny, and I can pull up the data of student usage of the library. So they come in to read. I see them oftentimes studying or working together as a group of kids on their homework, quizzing each other, playing video games on their phones because I allow phones out in the library. I have the maker space, and that's one of the times they can go into the maker space to work. And I mean, it's just a robust, hustling environment in the morning, and it's really exciting to have that. And then I'm also open during lunches. Again, everybody wants to come during lunch. So we've
Yeah.
had to limit that as well. But I do have I, I I cut out with the Cricut an A, B, and C. Those all have barcodes on the back, and I put them on lanyards. So now they get those downstairs in the office. Then when they come up to me, they type in their number, I scan it and take their pass. And that way, again, I have a record there in Destiny that I can pull up of who was there. It's also good for safety reasons, so that if something were to happen in the school, I can immediately pull up that Destiny list, and I can see what students are in there with me and be able to have that immediately to pass on to admin or whoever needs that.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, kids love just to be part of that community. And so it's just so great to have all those different like programming ideas and the maker space and just that, community to be able to either chill by yourself or hang out with your friends, which I
Yeah.
love. And I
Yeah.
also think that you do a Canvas course. And
Mhm.
I use Google Classroom for ours, and so I'm excited to hear how you use Canvas and what you do in there.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool how it works out. I started doing it last year, where every day of the week I am posting an announcement into the library Canvas course. I get all the kids into the Canvas course because I put the genre personality quiz in the Canvas course. So I'm kind of forcing them to join that Canvas course. But then there's incentives because the kids start seeing other kids doing and getting things, and they're like, hey, how do you get to do that? Like with the lit boxes, how do I get one? Well, you've got to be on the library Canvas course. You got to look at the announcements when they come out. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get on there. So manipulation. But I started last year, and yes, every single day of the year, all throughout the year, I have a spreadsheet
Yeah.
of what I'm going to post on the Canvas course. So Mondays are always like a book introduction, a little book summary. Tuesday is a brain teaser. If they get the brain teaser right, I make my own stickers, and the sticker goes with the answer to the brain teaser. Wednesday is just like an odd fact or interesting fact. Thursday is a this or that. I couldn't really figure out how to get them to do that. Um, and then I figured out, hey, just put a Google form in there, and it's been getting lots of traction. But my very favorite thing to do, my very favorite day is Friday, and that's the weekly win. And I got that idea from Christina Holzweiss because I forget if it's School Librarians Rock, I think that's what it is. Every Friday she posts, hey, share your weekly win. I was like, that'd be good for the kids. And I explain it to them during library orientation that nobody knows what you're saying except for me. I don't share it with anybody. And it's just there. Like maybe you don't want to tell your friends about something that you're excited about. You don't want to tell your parents, but you really are busting to tell somebody. And so I've gotten some really neat communications with the kids. So like some weird things are like, I found my coat. And I'm like, hey, you found your coat. And others like, I brought my grade up from a 70 to an 80. Or I'm not grounded anymore. Or I was in a competition and I made it in. Or even personal connections. Like this past week, I had a kid tell me they're trying out for the basketball team. And then in the weekly wins, told me I made it. I made it onto the basketball team. But the thing that I think makes it really special for the kids is I write an email to them celebrating their weekly win. So it's not just they filled out the form and it's in the ether and they don't know if I've even read it. I email them back. And my dirty little secret is that I do use AI for a lot of this because I'm like, okay, what do I say about I found my coat? Yay, I'm glad you found your coat.
Yes.
So I do put into AI, Chat GPT, a prompt of, hey, this is what this program is. Here's what this kid said. Make sure it sounds like something Gen Z would want to want to read. Include emojis because Gen Z likes emojis, and then I can tweak it as needed. And another exciting thing is I've had teachers start filling it out because I enroll my teachers also into the library Canvas course. And that's pretty cool when the teachers celebrate something as well.
So cool.
Yeah.
The great things you're doing to build that culture in your library, friend. I love
Yeah. If
it.
you have just a second, do we have just a second for me to do a pro tip about AI? Okay. So this is a bad thing, and I'll go ahead and smack my hand. Librarians should not do this because we teach good digital citizenship and not to be clicking on clickbait and other things like that. But last year, when I did this on Canvas, I was not getting very many clicks for the daily announcements because I'd be like, oh, weekly win, or here's a brain teaser. And so this year I've been getting lots and lots of clicks every single day because I tell ChatGPT assume the role of an award-winning clickbait headline writer.
That's awesome.
And then I tell it what I want it to write the title about. And so then it's like, you won't believe this. Only 1% of people can solve this riddle.
That's awesome.
I mean, getting clicks and clicks and clicks now. I'm like, you listened to nothing I told you,
You're like, got
but
you.
it works for me.
Awesome. I need some tips from you. That's a good one.
Yeah, right.
Love it. You're amazing, friend. I'm so
Thank
happy that
you.
you shared all these ideas, and tell people where they can find you on social media.
Mm,
They can find
You
you in
can,
Ready Librarians Facebook group. You're there.
yes, yes. Thanks to some of our friendliest moms. I'm not out in the open, unfortunately, on social media. My school library social media I have up and going. And in order to do that, I just put out the same thing I'm putting into my Canvas course every day, but I make it a little more lively by telling AI, create an Instagram post about blah, blah, blah. And then also other things that aren't in the Canvas course, like students are building their books by scary stories right now. And so taking pictures of that and posting that on social media. So yeah, my school social media, you can find me, or go to a closed
Yes.
librarians Facebook group like Future Ready Librarians.
Perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all these ideas, and keep sharing and doing just awesome things, because you are making such a difference for your readers, and it's inspiring for all of us to hear how to encourage our readers and put that love of reading in our libraries too.
Yeah, and I feel like the stuff that I'm doing, even if it's not pushing books, it's building those relationships,
Yeah.
and it makes the kids feel like you're approachable. And if they don't like you, nothing you do is going to matter in the library. What attracts them to do and connect with you is because you feel approachable, you're friendly, and they just like you. They like being around you. So that's more important than any bells and whistles. That's more important than a lit box, anything. It's just that they feel welcome and that they feel like you like them.
They know that you care. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
thank you, friend. Thank you so
Yeah. Thank you.
great. Thanks. As always, thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for this episode of the Future Ready Librarians podcast series, Leading from the Library. And a very special thank you to our sponsors, Follett Content. You make a difference in our libraries, schools, and within our lives, and that of our students every day. We appreciate everything you do. I hope you can take what you learned in today's podcast and put it to use within your practice as a future ready librarian. If I can support you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me on X or Instagram at Shannon M. Miller, or to my email at shannonmcclintockmiller@gmail.com. I am always happy to help. Until next time, friends, keep finding ways to lead within and from your library.